Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Canton III, and we are here today to serve you some pie. Not humble pie. We're serving you blame pie, MCU blame pie. Shout out to Jerome Chang giving us this idea as we will be talking about the incursions. Whose fault is it really? We're going to go through the percentages and do the math and do the details. The other thing that we're serving up is patreon.com/MCUniversityPod. You can get our bonus content such as the other night, myself, my pal Rod, and my pal Tej got together and we were talking about All-Star Weekend and Kevin Durant and them tweets. It was a fun time. We had a great time discussing, and you could get a conversation like that along with our backlog of every single episode that we've ever done, plus the Discord for $3. We're going to get to Blade soon, the Blade trilogy, the Wesley Snipes joint. Looking forward to that. In the meantime, and with that being said, let me introduce the super producer, Jake Christie. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing well. I forgot to do this for today's episode of the Museum of Twitter, but I threw on my Dale Earnhardt hat because we're recording this the 25th anniversary of when he passed away. Raise hell, praise Dale. Rest in peace to the king, to the Intimidator. I'm partially joking, but the man did die tragically.
Yeah, no, he's sure he most certainly did. Most certainly did. And trying to lift from that somber note that Jake just gave me, we do have two friends here to do the math and do the pie stuff. First, love her from the Discord. Our pal, our friend Cecelia Alfonso-Stokes is back. Cecelia, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like you lost an opportunity releasing this on March 14th on Pi Day, but it's fine. We can, ride that out for a little longer. But it is making me
Cecilia,
hungry.
we need to have an episode for this week. We don't have the luxury of.
Well, yeah, maybe people just listen again in a month. But yeah, it's making me hungry for some pie for sure.
Oh shoot! Yeah, same note to it. Every time I mention it, I'm thinking about it slightly.
That key lime from Loki season 2.
Exactly. And also we have our pal. We usually bring him in here for the nerd stuff, for the real nerd stuff, as we get down to the nitty gritty. Hunter Radesi. Hunter, how you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm pumped to be here for this episode that you guys need to have for this week.
Yes, and the episode is we are getting to the blame pie and the incursions. I have been making the joke for about a few months now about Steve Rogers being too horny at work, and therefore going back in time when he did that in Avengers Endgame and messing up the entire thing. That's why Doctor Doom's gonna be on his ass in Avengers Doomsday. So in light of Jerome's idea, it's like that can't be the only reason that we have incursions. So we should go through them and see how much of a percentage these particular events deserve. Now, in previous conversations leading up to this, both Cecelia and Hunter, in separate conversations I had with them, did have some ideas of their own, which we're going to get to very shortly. But as far as this list is concerned, I'll leave Steve Rogers. We'll do Steve Rogers because I've been doing the joke. It's a running bit. We don't have to do that first. We'll do something a little fresh. The first thing I want to go over with you guys is the Avengers themselves, because guess what? In Avengers Endgame, in order to bring everybody back, they did a time heist. They went back in time. They're using the Pym particles, and it didn't go all the way. They got the job done, but not without a bunch of calamity. I mean, let's just count it. One, when they went back to 2012, they captured. Obviously, this is when Loki was captured at the end of Avengers, and they were going to get the Tesseract. But then calamity happened. Loki escapes, disappears, and they don't get the Tesseract. They have to go through another means to get that Tesseract, which was both Steve and Tony. I can't remember what year it was. What was it? 1960. What was 1961?
No, I mean, no, we're doing one because you're still counting off.
Oh shit, my bad.
I didn't know.
We're doing a bit. You're gonna keep ignoring us. I did the bit, and then Hunter's like, "This is a good bit," so we've been doing this bit. We've been putting up one finger, waiting for you to say two. But you're gonna get there.
You just threw me off crazy. But yeah, okay. So the Loki thing is number one. Number two is both Steve and Tony going back to New Jersey to getting Pym particles, and then Tony meeting his dad. Obviously, back then was also like a thing that you can add, and then Steve Rogers, of course, which this ties into him being horny at work, stealing all them Pym particles for not just for them to return, but for him to also go back in time for whatever nonsense that he was trying to do. So, guys, with that being said, how much of a percentage would you blame what the Avengers did in Endgame? And obviously, it was the thing that needed to happen for them to bring everybody back. Cecelia, I will start with you on this one. What percentage would you put of blame on these two particular events?
Okay, so on the Tesseract and the New Jersey bit. In some, I mean, you can make the argument that almost all of the incursions, everything that follows, really is because of this moment. So there's a world where you can say 100%. I would say at least 50%, because another part of the problem that invites a lot of villains and villainy is the arrogance of this whole situation as well, is to go, we're going to be the heroes, we're going to save the day, we're going to do this thing, damn whatever the repercussions are. And then Tony himself pretty much plans to die at the end of Endgame, and he was like, yeah, things are going to be bad, see you, best of luck, Godspeed. And then Rogers kind of does the same thing. So there's I would say, to me, at least 50%, almost mostly Tony and Steve. You can probably throw Scott Lang in there, but I don't know.
Maybe
Buddy just proposed an idea, but everybody else had to figure out how to do it and go forward. So,
do you trust me? I do. Those two crazy characters going off on their own and doing their nonsense. Hunter, what would you say in terms of a percentage of blame for these two events?
It's funny that Cecelia said 50% because I was also kind of thinking 50%. I was like, and for the same reason, I think that so much, there were a lot of incursion inducing events that I think happen after this, but I agree in that I think a lot of them don't happen if this doesn't happen. And I would put, I don't know, maybe there might be morals to debate here, but I would put Steven and Tony make their decisions, but I think that if you really want to go back, it is kind of Scott Lang going to the Avengers and being like, did you guys know that we probably could time travel? That just sets off the rest of everything. So I think that whether obviously they didn't know what they were getting into, but I do think you can put a lot of that 50% on Scott Lang. I don't know. I mean, you could debate how fair that is, but I do think that he's a big reason. I mean, Cecelia brings up a good point. He suggests the idea. It's really for one purpose, and then it branches out into a lot of other things that he does not have control over, that he was not thinking about doing. So that's not on him. But if you really want to be where did this kind of start? I think a lot of it starts with, I mean, I guess if you're going back that far, then you can kind of just blame Thanos for wiping out half the universe and giving them a reason to do this. But yeah, I mean, Scott Lang, that I think it's a good solid chunk of it. It's a lot.
Yes. You got something, Cecelia?
Just as I don't know, an addition, potentially a rebuttal. I think that part of it too, though, is the reason I don't put as much responsibility on Lang's shoulders, on Ant-Man's shoulders, is because he's also never once been the leader of any of this. And Tony and Steve, as leaders, and this is a note to anybody in any leadership role, as a leader, when shit goes sideways, that falls on you. You have to bear the burden of that responsibility. So, yeah, I mean, Scott Lang, I don't know, it's like an intern who said, what if we did this? And the CEO said, great idea, we'll do it. Everything fucks up. You can't go. But the intern said.
Mhm.
So that's my
And
response.
Jake.
So,
Yeah.
so I think I misunderstood. I didn't misunderstand. I think I said my view of the rubric was how much do I blame them as people? Like how I kind of, and I think this is a very me way of taking it. Like how angry am I at these people? And
Well,
so,
you can add that in your
well, no,
personal
like
feelings
because like
and
what is
add
it's
it.
like? It's
Please
like
feel free.
because like
It's
I
a
don't
wide-ranging combo.
in terms of compared to one other one specifically, actually two others
Hmm.
specifically. I don't blame them that much because their intentions were for this not to happen. They were aware. Like some of the other examples are people just recklessly opening up other universes and not giving a shit about it. Like if everything went to plan, they wouldn't have caused any incursions. That doesn't mean that they're blameless, but it's like they were aware of what they were doing in a way that like I'm more sympathetic to. Actual percentage, I'd put it at like 25-ish. But I don't know. I think that the fact that in comparison to everything else on this list, the fact that they were like, no, we're going to make sure we don't make another universe. I think that level of responsibility, the first time that the multiverses were like mentioned, the fact that they were this responsible was like, we're going to go back in time and replace everything. The fact that this list is filled with a bunch of other jokers that are like, you know what, YOLO, like, let's just do whatever. Like, that's a problem.
YOLO.
Yes.
Like they actually, the fact that even that, you know, like if Steve didn't go, and we'll get to it, didn't go on his whole whatever, his hanky panky trip, then a lot of this, like all of the ripples, like then we're just dealing with Loki. You know what I mean?
I love it.
But no, I think that I view them, I view Steve and Tony as, did they handle it completely responsibly? No. The responsible thing is just to be like, half of the universe is dead, them's the breaks. Like that unfortunately is the responsible thing to do.
Yes.
But given that like they were aware of what they're doing, I'm just like I have less smoke for them. Tony specifically, the thing I have smoke for Tony about is the fact that it's like, my guy, you're just, the fact that you're ruining the whole world by making it just that everyone comes back 5 years later instead of just going back 5 years. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I don't want to say to a group that has two parents in it that like, I'm sorry, you just need to like make your daughter again, but like the world is on the line. Like I just don't know what to say. Like anyway, like that's but like they were going, like the fact even the idea with the Pym particles and the Tesseract in the same place, like they were trying to be responsible. And like, are they to blame? Of course they are. They've made a lot of ripples. But I don't know. This is just so much more well thought out than some of the other things that people did. Some of the other reasons why people did incursions. Some like there's half the universe was gone compared to some of the other reasons why people broke the timeline.
Yes,
Right.
we're gonna get to it. Hunter, you had your hand raised. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I think Jake brings up a great point, and I think that to add to that, I think it's important to note that they didn't know that incursions were a thing when like they were doing a lot of this. Like I think, I mean, Doctor Strange learns about it later,
Yeah.
but I think that when the Avengers are deciding we're gonna go and we're gonna bring everybody back, like they're not aware that doing that can have this repercussion where like two timelines collide with each other and like destroy everything. I think that in Endgame, if anyone has the best understanding, it's Banner going back and encountering the Ancient One, and she's like explaining essentially how timelines work. And from his perspective, it's just like, oh, if we go back in time and we change something, then like our timeline still exists. We just create another branch timeline, which isn't like the worst thing in the world. But at no point was the Ancient One like,
Yeah.
and then if you do this and then this though, then these timelines will collide with each other and everybody dies. Like no one told them that. Like I think that they were sort of like, oh, well, if I go back and like if Steve is probably thinking if he had a conversation with Banner about it, oh, if I go back with Peggy and I just like decide to stay and do this thing, worst case, I'm just creating a new branch reality. Like it's not like everybody's gonna die because I'm doing this thing.
No, it's like the Bill and Ted thing. It's just remember to put the key when I come back.
Totally.
Like they thought they had a solution.
They thought they had a solution. I think that's like kind of an important thing. And then also, yeah, I mean, listen, if I had a kid, I wouldn't want to go back and like I don't have a kid, so I'm maybe not the best person to speak on this, but if I did, I don't think I would want to go back and like do it again. Like I think I'd be
No,
like,
I
yeah,
understand.
if I could bring the same kid back,
Yeah.
that would be sick. But I say that in the sense like this might sound really I would love to have a kid someday, so I would love to actually know how this feels. But like the closest thing I have right now is like I spend hours and hours and hours and hours like working my way through a video game, and then like it like save data gets erased, and it's like, okay,
I've been there.
yeah,
I feel
and
like
it
we've all been there
sucks.
at one
And it's like
point.
I can go
Not
back
great.
and start
Not
the
great.
game over. Like technically, I know how to do it, right? Like technically, I know how to spend.
And if we're to trust the documentary About Time, we all know that if you go back in time before a baby was conceived, it becomes a different baby when you go back to the future. So
Right,
the
it's like-
documentary spells that out. So
Totally, and we all knew that. But I
if I'm the only one here who's seen that movie, that joke would be really good if I wasn't the only one that ever saw the movie. But
I think you might be. What's it called?
About Time. It's the Donald Gleason, Rachel McAdams rom-com about time travel. Come on.
Oh, okay, I see.
I have not.
But yeah, I mean, like, I would rather just get the save data back, and if I knew
Right.
that it was going to cause two of my video games to collide and cease to exist, then yeah, I'd be like, maybe I'll just play the same game again. But I didn't know
That's fair. Yeah.
that.
No, I will say, I think your guys' numbers are correct for the rubric in terms of like what is actually responsible for the incursions happening.
Yeah.
I think you are correct. I'm doing it very like Monday morning quarterback, like drive time radio, being like,
Yes.
you know, this coach is a bum. Like that's kind of my view.
I think for me, you in retrospect and having looking at this, you have to give the Avengers about 60 to 65% of the blame here. And I say this mainly because of what ends up happening with Loki. Because mind you, in Loki goes back, is a variant who's supposed to get pruned and erased and sent to the void, and that's it. But no, what he ends up doing is going on a whole thing with Sylvie, meets another variant, and eventually the thing is to eliminate he who remains, who has always been at the end of time at the Citadel. So eventually, what ends up happening is he removes he who remains from the timeline completely, and then Loki, a variant of Loki, becomes the tree at the end of time. And now he's running stuff. So that's a completely different situation that occurs opposed to what was initially the history of what was going on MCU timeline wise. So I have to imagine that somebody, aka Doctor Doom, is not going to be happy about that neither. And guess what? The Avengers deserve blame for that too, because that changes a lot in that whole situation. So even though it's a separate thing from Loki. I mean, from the Avengers. The two are concurrent in their own type of way of what ends up happening and what causes the incursions and lets a lot of the other stuff that goes on too. So yeah, I'm blaming the Avengers. I'm blaming the Avengers a ton. I'm going 60 to 65%. I feel like a lot of the other stuff is lower. Some of it's more interesting and poor choices in other instances. But this one, like the Avengers are responsible for some real nonsense. Now, Hunter, when I had brought this up to you via text, as far as the Loki situation is concerned, what do you what you have? Do you have thoughts on Loki and the He Who Remains of it all? Because obviously, in real life, that's a whole different situation. But in MCU life, like yo, that's a pretty big deal that He Who Remains gone, Kang probably gone. Like that whole situation changes things.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that, I mean, yeah, again, you can roll it back to the Avengers and them setting Loki on this path, but then again, like, then Loki ends up in this situation where he's in front of a guy who's like, if you make these certain situations, really bad things will happen. Like, he was like very straight up about it. He was like, I like see why you think I'm the bad guy, but at the same time, like, I am telling you, if I die, it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously that's not Loki who does that, that's Sylvie who ends up doing that. But like, yeah, I mean, the repercussions keep going. I actually, in this moment, I don't remember exactly what I text you in response to that, but like what's coming to mind right now is yeah, like Loki ends up on this path, and what it results in is like the guy who is keeping all of this shit together is gone. And then it just opens up everything, which I know is like the point of that story, and it's not entirely Loki's fault, like percentage wise. I mean, he's part of the reason that Sylvie's there. Like, so I guess you can put some of that blame on him, and then Sylvie ends up doing it, so you can put some of that blame on Sylvie. But like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes on in the Void with He Who Remains that is also like ultimately responsible for this. And I know at the time that they were like putting this together, I think the idea was like, oh, they're like releasing Kang. But I think that in retrospect, that is still an incredibly consequential moment because sure, it doesn't lead to like the Kang Dynasty movie, but it does open up the possibility of incursions again. And it opens up this sort of like free for all. There's no one in charge of this for like a little bit. And in that stopgap where no one's really in charge of it, a lot goes on that kind of like throws it into chaos.
Well, what you mentioned was, which I'm just reading, Loki is the god of stories.
Yeah, totally. And so he ends up becoming the god of stories. And like, I guess we haven't been shown what exactly that means. Like, we know hypothetically what that means.
I have a feeling we will in December.
I have a feeling we'll find out really soon. Tom Hiddleston confirmed to return, but let's go. But yeah, I mean, like the ultimate result, to go back to like you saying the Avengers are like 60 to 65% responsible for this, and I think actually I'm now remembering what I said in that text to you is like they don't even know just how consequential what they did was. Like in their minds, they're like, great, we grabbed these stones from different points in time, we like saved half the universe, and then we went about our lives. Worst case scenario, Steve's not here anymore. That's all they're thinking. But like what they don't know is that the butterfly effect of them doing that is like Loki 2012 escapes. Loki 2012 meets Sylvie. They kill He Who Remains. Like the guy, the tree that has been keeping all this together the whole time ends up being like killed and replaced by like Loki Laufeyson. And like they have no idea that they did this, which I also think is crazy. And I almost wonder if they'll address that in Doomsday at all, in that like they're like, oh man, so us going back in time and doing this like stone heist resulted in essentially like the timeline god being replaced by a new timeline god who is Loki.
It's like that domino meme where it's 9/11 happens and then Ellen getting canceled is the last one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For those wondering, by the way, it's 9/11 happens, which inspired Gerard Way to stop working at his job and make My Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance inspired Stephanie Meyer to make the Twilight movies. The Twilight movies inspired fan fiction that became 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey made Dakota Johnson a star. Dakota Johnson being on Ellen is what started her getting canceled. Anyway, continue.
Right. But like, and to that point, like, Al Qaeda didn't plan on getting Ellen canceled.
Exactly. Hunter, you're the only one brave enough to say it.
They had no idea. Like they were doing a different thing, which was bad. Let me say it loud.
Exactly. There's unintended consequences. Exactly.
Hunter said, I'm on the record.
I'm on the record to say what they did was bad.
Hunter,
what I'm
thank
saying
you so
is,
much for joining me out on this limb. I really was. I thought I was going to be out here alone, and you rolled up right next to me. I appreciate that.
I did. I'm rolling right up. I'm rolling right up to say what they did was bad for the fifth time.
Of course. No, I mean, and as a Bills fan, you obviously have to come out against the 9/11 attacks because it's a bit iffy with you guys. But
I mean, he didn't speak for all of us, and he's gone now. But also,
Cecelia, by the way, the thing I'm referencing is that the former Bills coach used the Al Qaeda attackers as an example of teamwork.
That's true. That's true. He did. And listen, them. You know what? This is going down. I'm going to stop.
Don't, because I could do that. I have the reputation to do something, but you can't. Yeah. You're a sweet guy. Don't do that.
I'm stopping at they were doing one thing and it resulted in several other things.
Exactly.
All right.
I mean, he just really took the whole, never forget thing too far. It was just like at the top of his mind. So like,
it's not.
He never forgot.
We're talking about it.
God,
here we are.
Funny that happened. I can't believe that he did that. That's so fucking funny that he did that.
Unbelievable, man. I also have to add. I have to add because Cecelia mentioned it in the chat earlier. Nebula killed Nebula. That's kind of a thing. Kind of a thing that happened there. And Avengers Endgame. A lot of stuff happened. I guess that's why they're calling Doomsday a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame. Good Lord.
That makes me wonder, though. Oh, sorry, Cecilia, it's your text. Sorry.
I was just gonna ask. I was gonna say before. Sorry to jump ahead, but to go back to the Loki of it,
Sure.
I wonder though if Loki 2012 is to blame at all for anything. Like Sylvie was the one who actually was going on this whole revenge mission to go kill He Who Remains, and like Loki 2012 was trying to stop her pretty much the whole time. And then
but then
whenever
he ends up being the guy anyway who has to
to save everything, because otherwise everything would die. Like he's
everything
like
would not exist.
As far as I'm concerned, if we're doing a percentage thing, Loki's in the negatives for me. Like he actually is like he had to give a whole new shape to the multiverse.
It's an Avengers issue. It's an Avengers caused issue.
I mean, in a pure number standpoint, Loki has saved more lives than anyone in the MCU.
Precisely. Period.
2012 Loki had to give up his entire future to just like step in and take over. Like
he's not the god. He's the god who stepped up. Is the thing.
He is. Yeah,
but no, the thing I was wondering about
up and sat down.
Yes, exactly. The thing I was wondering about Nebula though is that like, are we gonna see that universe that that Thanos comes from? Because like, I'm curious how much, because I agree that is going to cause a branch in the timeline, her dying earlier, but like, I don't know. I feel like if we don't actually like reference that exact universe, I wonder if that's even going to be relevant at all. Frankly, I think it probably won't be, because I think a lot of people forgot that Nebula killed Nebula. But no, I wonder how that would work, because I agree to say that is a thing that could cause an incursion, but like, I don't know.
I think bigger than Nebula killing Nebula is maybe that the Thanos from that universe and his entire army is also dead. Because for me, I'm like, he was planning to do the same thing in that timeline that he did in the main universe, and now he's all dead before the Avengers even know that Thanos is a person, like, or is a thing. So it's like that meme. It's like the, like the world if this and this didn't happen, and it's like a utopia. Like, it's like, is that what's happening there? Like, Thanos never attacked, and they're just doing great.
Right. Jesus. And the events of this also, in addition to Nebula killing Nebula and what you just said, Hunter, we have a variant Gamora walking around. So that part too. So Avengers Endgame just did a whole lot of nonsense, essentially.
And I'll also say, this was, first of all, Rosa pointed it out. It was not me. And secondly, she actually said Gamora initially, and then I was like, oh, there was Gamora and then Nebula, and we talked about it. She's like, yeah, because of Thanos, blah, blah, blah. So blame the 10-year-old.
I'm not blaming the 10-year-old. The 10-year-old did free producing.
I guess I did. So give us some points. Give us some pointers there.
Yeah, the variant Gamora floating around out there is is definitely.
I do appreciate that she's just like, nah, I'm a variant. I'm in a new universe, and I'm just gonna rob people with Sylvester Stallone. I respect that a lot.
Oh man. So I have also on this list. I have Doctor Strange traveling the multiverse with America Chavez, by proxy getting the Illuminati killed by Wanda, and then eventually corrupting himself with the use of the Darkhold. Jake, I'll start with you on this one. How you feeling about
I think everything up until the last bit, you can with my rubric of like how much I'm blaming them.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can justify that because like like America is like a one of one, so like you can argue, I think correctly, that she is vital, that she needs to be saved because there are no other variants of her, right? There's no universe where she's supposed to die. And so I think doing everything you can to save her, fine. But that he, in terms of like me talking about like what you know and don't know, he is so to blame. He knows what he's doing. He's the fucking Sorcerer Supreme. Like, he can't plead ignorance about this. And so him messing with the Darkhold, trying to communicate with other dimensions, things like that, like, it's one of those things where it's like the ends justify the means, and then the moment that the ends are met, he still keeps doing the means. It's like, nah, man, you can't be using the Darkhold to explore other universes after you know that it's a problem. So I put this at a good. I put this at 20%, because even though it's just the one guy, he's really once again, he knows better. Unlike like Tony and Steve, they're not sorcerers. They don't know about other universes. This man was walking in other universes, and instead of just being like, "Phew, got that done. Never need to walk in another universe again," he's like, "Back to the Dark World." Like that's a problem.
and Cecelia, how about you? What do you view this this Doctor Strange situation as?
I mean, Doctor Strange, if I were to reel it back for just a second, I would say you give Avengers 49.5%. And Doctor Strange 49.5%, and then the last 1% can be divvied up amongst everyone else. Like Doctor Strange, I think to Jake's point, is some of them like probably the most knowledgeable about the consequences. I think that Tony's up there, but he has such a I don't give a fuck attitude that does like if the Avengers bear so much of the responsibility because they were leaders and make like calling these shots on behalf of others, Doctor Strange is that because he's just like this chaotic neutral to evil character dicking around in all these universes.
He gets told about incursions and he still does it.
Yeah, because Reed Richards tells him like, "Yo, like you being here is causing
actually
a whole bunch of problems."
It's the arrogance of all of these people. Yeah, like it's their arrogance that gets them there, and he was just like, "Sure, I'm sure the incursions it can be like it has that it'll get worked out. Somebody else will figure that out, figure out that problem sort of vibe, and it's probably I don't know, probably going to be women. So that's
what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the Tumblr meme of R.I.P. to everyone killed by the gods for their hubris, but I'm different and better, maybe even better than the gods.
Yes,
because he's like, yeah, R.I.P. to that Strange who died because of the incursions, but I'm better than him. Like,
that's tremendous. Hunter, how about you? Where do you land on this?
I really wish I could say anything better than what Jake just said. I think that was like so good. I also really appreciate that Cecelia was like, it's not a blame pie, it's just two pies. And they're both 100% the Avengers and Doctor Strange. I will say that I agree that Strange deserves a lot of the blame, which like I know that the MCU really is like he's the new Tony Stark and that's like his character flaw, right? Is that he's really good at a really specific thing, but he's also full of himself enough to be like, I can put an armor around the world and then it creates Ultron, right? Like this is his version of that. He's like, oh, I can like mess with the timelines and it'll be fine because I'm me and I'm good at this. But then, oh no, it backfired. I created Ultron. Like I created, timeline Ultron. And but I do appreciate that thus far in the MCU, I do think he's also the only character who's been told to his face, you fucked that up in like this way. Mm-hmm. Like Clea, who we'll definitely see again soon. And Clea, who did not die. Yeah, I he's dealing with this. I'm really curious to see actually in Doomsday how they address the ending of Multiverse and him like hopping into this.
It would be nice.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice for them to address the ending of a lot of movies. But that being said, I would put a big chunk of this blame on him. And I would put the blame on him. I think he has the most malicious blame, or the most like, if you want to be the angriest at someone, then sure, be angry at Doctor Strange. Because he, like you guys said, was the one who like knew what he was doing and was like, I'm built different. And he most probably was not.
Yeah, R.I.P. to you're Strange, but I'm different.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
He's like, Strange don't mean nothing. It's like, well, yeah. surely it does.
R.I.P. Defender Strange, because that's how that movie started with him getting killed. All right, so like say for instance, if I pulled the Cecelia and I rolled it back a little bit, roll back the Avengers, maybe get it down to about 60-ish%. I'm gonna give Doctor Strange, because there's more to discuss here. Give Doctor Strange a solid 20. I'm gonna give Doctor Strange a solid 20%, because what the Avengers did was just like it's the majority of the shit. It was like a group. It was a group effort, a group project gone right and wrong at the same time. And but Doctor Strange gets his singular amount of blame, and I'm curious to see what his role is in kind of changing. Because remember, he goes off to the dark dimension to do God knows what with Clea. So we'll have to see what that story is to Hunter's
We're not
point.
going to see what that story is. What are we talking about?
I'm
I think
sure
I've said
there's-
it before. What's more likely, Clea Duvall being in the MCU or Clea coming back?
Whoa, what a pull.
I mean, she's friends with Natasha Lyonne. Maybe she'll be in the next Fantastic Four. Who knows?
Everybody at home frantically Googling who Clea Duvall is.
See, the thing is, the real J-Cans know. The real J-Cans, they've seen movies. But, no.
Mind you, we get closer to the Jakeys and Springies.
Oh my god, the Jakeys. Springtime actually just texted me that he's finalized his song parodies for the Jakeys and Springies episode, so I'm excited about that.
Is what?
You didn't listen last year?
I did. I know. I know.
Did Espresso, but about Amelia Perez. It was good stuff.
I will say that definitely explains some of the Instagram stories I've seen in the last couple of days.
Oh goodness! Oh my! Oh Springy!
Yep.
We love you,
Very
dog.
excited for that. It's gonna be a good year.
Yes, a very good year for movies. All right. So we have unfortunately our guy, our homie Peter Parker, changing the spell that Doctor Strange casts. So another thing that Strange is involved in. Changing the spell so much, causing villains from the alternate universes, which are the Toby and Andrew verses, to come through. How much are we blaming Peter Parker for this? Hunter, I'll start with you on this one. What you feeling about what your boy Pete did in No Way Home?
Peter Parker has never done anything wrong in his life, and
Period.
he's a sweet angel baby. Also, I love calling it the Tobyverse because what a silly name to name a universe after. No, listen, he deserves some blame, but similar to the Avengers, he had no idea what he was doing at all, which is often the case with him, which I think is why, he leads heart first into everything that he does. And I love him for that. And sometimes there are consequences to it. But I mean, he's also willing to, I think you have to, in terms of blame, you also have to take into consideration, did he do some things that caused some rifts in the timelines in the multiverse and maybe caused the start of an incursion where a bunch of Sonyverse Spider-Man villains were crashing down upon the mainline MCU? Yes. Was he also willing to sacrifice literally his entire life to reverse that? Yes. And I think that's important because he was doing something bad.
Accountability.
Yeah, he was doing something bad, and he was unaware of the consequences of what he was doing. He was doing it for ultimately, sort of altruistic reasons. And then as soon as he realized that he done fucked up, he was like, I will. I mean, the closest thing you can do to dying without actually dying, he did to put it back to the best of his ability. So I think when you compare that to Doctor Strange just doing whatever and then being like, cool, I have a third eye now and we're gonna figure that out. It's it's I have a hard time assigning pointing a finger at Peter because in terms of sacrifice he did a lot, and I think that rolls back some of the percentage because he does stop that immediate incursion that's happening, whether he knows it's an incursion or not. I think that's important.
This is true. This is very true. Cecelia, how about you? I know you are impartial to one Peter Parker. And so how do you feel about this situation that occurred?
I mean, like Hunter said, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, has never done anything wrong, and he is our perfect, sweet little baby angel baby. And also, I feel similarly to how I feel about Scott Lang, but even more so, where I'm like, Peter Parker is a child. So I mean, I really, his brain is super underdeveloped still. He's not even a legal adult. Buddy can't vote. What? I don't. He's just he's not a done person yet. He's not finished. And so I can't hold him too much to blame for it. And Doctor Strange was there. So
once again,
that's like more to Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange was the one. He was the one grown up there, and messed it up. So
yeah, you come through for Pete. That's true.
And it is the responsibility of it all. He owned it immediately.
Also, like,
Buddy.
crazy that Doctor Strange experienced this and like saw the consequences of what Peter was doing, and like,
that's a great point.
And then still did Multiverse of Madness. I'm just now thinking this.
Point. That's an incredible point.
That's crazy.
Here is so once again, I'm blaming how much I blame the characters. Like, and so with Peter Parker, I'm at like 5%.
That's kind of where I landed.
Only because he is not a legal adult, and you mentioned he can't vote yet, does make me think like, what would his ballot be? I think he, probably Zoran, then Brad, but then like what is he? Zelnor, Myri 3? Anyway, but he should know a little bit better. He should know that the solution to his friends having problems with like college admissions is not a spell. Like that he's old enough to know that. Like, but Doctor Strange is so much more to blame for this. Because if you are
1000%.
a high school student and you go to your chemistry teacher and say like, hey, I think I can make a cool compound if I mix these two chemicals together, and those chemicals are bleach and ammonia, it is the chemistry teacher's responsibility to say, no, we'll die. Like, the response of, can you wipe everyone's memory about me being Spider-Man, is no. Like, that is insane.
Exactly.
Like,
it would be more Peter's fault if Doctor Strange wasn't there.
Because to be fair, when I was 16, I think that if I was stressing about a handful of things, and I lived in a world where I knew, I was like, well, like, a spell might be like magic might be able to solve a lot of my problems right now in a really convenient way. And then I went to the magic teacher. I went to my like defense against the dark arts teacher, and I was like, can we do this? And the teacher was like, I mean, technically, sure, just use my basement. Then I'd be like, oh, well, they said it's fine. So, like, sure.
Right.
And now that I'm thinking of Peter Parker as someone who's, like, underdeveloped, it's like, I guess I've never thought of him that way before, but I guess he's not fully cooked.
He's a child. Yeah, he's,
He's a baby.
Yeah.
He's so small. He's so tiny. But no, he's
little baby.
Yeah, you get the impulse, but you're just like, teenagers would be, if we were to give into every teenager's impulse, the world would be much crazier. Like, you can't. Yeah, the impulse is to make everyone forget that you're Spider-Man. The answer is like, sorry, man, them's the breaks.
That's true.
Well, the synopsis, which came out today of Spider-Man Brand New Day, included that after 4 years has passed, so Peter will have aged up a little bit coming into this movie this year, I should say.
Still won't be able to rent a car, though.
Exactly. You can't rent a car, you can't be to blame.
Yeah, that's
straight up. Aren't you like 26 before your frontal cortex or frontal lobe develops? So he's
mean, it sucks that his parents are dead because he still could be on their insurance.
He really could. Oh man.
That's why it sucks.
That's why it sucks that his parents are dead.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably what he's thinking.
He's like, I can't believe I have to fucking deal with Aetna. I gotta pay out of pocket for Blue Cross Blue Shield, goddammit. The exchanges.
Oh man.
He's hitting the Walgreens or CVS like free shot clinics.
His phone's frozen trying to pull up GoDirect. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Nah, you good. You good. I'll just say y'all a lot better than some other Spider-Man fans, because a lot of time online I just see the memes of people going, yeah, Spider-Man's broke, he's depressed, and they got like people like applauding and cheering, like, what? This is what we want.
It's good for the story, but
it's good for the story. But goddamn, Peter Parker going through everything.
There are conversations to have. There are conversations to have, like, talking about Peter Parker as if he's a person, and there are conversations to have talking about the movie. I'm glad movie-wise it is broke, but talking about it, I'm like, yeah, man, it sucks. Being 26 in New York is hard.
It sucks. It's really hard. I've never I'm in a unique position to talk about this because I did lose my parents' insurance last year, and then I didn't have a job for a second, and I get it,
Yeah.
Peter. I completely
Yeah.
understand. I do think it's funny. I mean, in terms of Spider-Man fans, like, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan, and I enjoy when he's struggling with these things. But on the other hand, I've never the concept of watching a Spider-Man movie and being like, yeah, but what's he doing about health insurance? It's like you need to watch a different movie.
No.
Like,
I mean,
I would watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be absolutely clear, I'm doing a bit, but yes, I do think
him on the phone.
I mean, the man
with
does
Stigma.
need healthcare though, because he's getting hurt a lot. Like, and he's not Wolverine. He's, I mean,
No.
shit.
Oh man.
But-
And, yeah.
Is he even able to? This is like the whole thing. That's like the whole origin story. Is
Yeah.
they're like, we can't have documentation
No, I know.
saying Spider-Man. We can't write a check out to Spider-Man.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
That's a tough point.
Yeah.
I enjoy
That's
And
why
they
he's
want
in
to ask,
trouble.
like, how did you get hurt like this?
Yeah, he's like he's rolling up to NYU Langone, and it's like we can't accept this insurance card that says Spider-Man on
He
it.
said there is no social security card that says Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. I'm going 5% like Jake did on that one. I'm just gonna quickly visit. I mean, I got to do it. Steve Rogers going back in time because he was too horny at work. Like this is like there's got to be a little bit of a how do you say some comeuppance for what he did, and then having a kid on top of that. God knows what to. And by the way, he and just FYI, he did not stop racism. That's the other part of this that's the other part of this I'm going to mention. He didn't when he went back in time. He did not stop racism.
Okay, but
That's
what?
very
But
important.
what if he did though? The thing is, we actually don't know if he did. Because
We
all
don't
we
know.
see in this universe is that motorcycles exist and
Uh-uh.
he has a baby. So like, what if there's a scene where he's on Wikipedia and it's like Strom Thurmond almost had the longest filibuster until he was hit by Captain America's shield 20 hours in. Sorry, that's a callback. I didn't that was a callback. I remember that to an old pod like 3 years ago.
Shout out, shout out to the 5-year Endgame retrospect.
Yeah, it was the first time. I think it was the first time Rod asked, "What would it look like for him to stop racism?" And my idea was that he hit Strom Thurmond with his shield, but he was filibustering the Civil Rights Act. I can't not think about that anytime someone mentions that. I said the shield.
Oh god.
Anyway, but racism could be gone. I mean, I doubt it, given that he's he looks like he's in a white nationalist ad with like a white T-shirt on a
Yeah.
motorcycle. But
Yeah.
You enjoy him risking the timeline to be like, I do want to go back and like have a baby with this lady, but I am gonna draw the line at changing anything. Like racism stays. For the sake of the
I mean,
timeline.
in terms of like my blame pie, he's fully
Yeah.
50% because he was given explicit instructions as to what to do. He of
Yeah.
everyone, like he was told.
Right.
Like the thing about it is, it's like Doctor Strange thinks that he can like he can outfox the system. He can be better than it.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers knows what he's doing is wrong, and he
So
has
fuck
no
it.
excuse. Like he
So
just is
fuck
doing it. Like he has no. If you were to ask him like, why do you think this won't be a problem? He wouldn't have an answer. He would just be like, I don't know. And like once again, I'm happy that he's got it. Haley Atwell is a beautiful woman. Like I get it to some extent, but it's like, man, like we keep what AC. What just happened with the MLB Players Association? What just happened?
Yo, okay.
Why did Tony Clark lose his job? What was he doing?
Tony the Tiger, Tony Clark, was in an improper relationship. Wait a minute. Was this with his
His sister-in-law, but important
his
for this
sister-in-law?
context is
Yes.
what was she also? An employee. He was fucking at work, and
He was horny at work.
you can't shown more. What just happened to him? Like, it's such a because the thing is, so many of these decisions people make are morally defensible if you're not thinking about like cosmic incursions.
Mhm.
Being horny at work is bad, no matter if incursions exist or not.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Just
Doesn't
a
matter, man.
Steve Rogers Nomad movie directed by Emerald Fennel. He's just living
That
his
is-
life
There
every
actually
time.
there was a prompt going around on Twitter of what's the next thing that Emerald Fennel could adapt that would upset Twitter the most, and that I saw some great answers, but that's a good one. Steve Rogers.
Training incursions. So, Cecelia, I ask you because I've never got your opinion on this. So what do you think of Steve Rogers doing the nonsense, the shameful thing that he did allegedly.
You know, Jake does make a good point that he was given explicit instructions of not just what not to do, but also what to do. So, like, Doctor Strange, everyone else was like, don't do this.
Yes.
Or else, blah, blah, blah. But Steve Rogers got okay, if we do these things, these bad things will happen. So your precise task is this. Go put this there and then come back. Like, he was given the full set of instructions and he just didn't complete the assignment. And so that is a good point. I maintain the 49.5%
sure
of it being like a shared thing amongst the Avengers.
Absolutely.
Something that I'm struggling with in also assigning blame is evaluating and like weighing out the intelligence of these people. Like, I don't know that I trust that Steve Rogers has the ability to think this problem all the way through to the end.
Clearly he was not thinking with his right head. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, like we know what he was thinking with. I think like Tony probably knew a lot more than he let on. Doctor Strange is able to know a lot. Like, he has the intelligence and the abilities.
Yes.
And just so that's something that I'm actually kind of struggling with.
To that point, did Steve Rogers finish high school? Like, do we know what his education level is? Surely not college.
No. That's a great point. Wow.
Those pecs do not scream, I went to college. I will say that.
Well, no, but he didn't go to college, obviously, because he was too poor.
Right.
But he keep on, he was scrawny before, and I think he finished high school.
He probably finished high school.
Yeah.
But also, this is like when they were learning that like chicken was a vegetable. So like,
right. I was like, was it good high school though? Is the other, because listen, I once went thrifting and found a high school textbook from the 1950s that was like kind of terrifying to look at. So if his high school education is like the 1930s into the 1940s, and then he doesn't go to college, and then he is in a glacier for like however long, and then he comes out and he's just immediately like a government spy. Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, it was the era where they were telling pregnant women to smoke while they were pregnant to keep their weight down. So
like, what's his IQ level, do we think? Is my thought. Like Steve Rogers.
I mean, also look, think about all the lead in the paint. And gasoline.
Oh man.
Like he gets a lot of people are like, he's a good strategist, but like I could also look at Hulk and say smash, you know?
Yeah. Right.
You're making some good points. By the way, now I am imagining
he's like he's like, Hawkeye, take a roof. It's like, yeah.
Correct.
Sure, yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about it in Endgame, Tony tells him before he decides to go off with Bruce and just like we want to try and get people back and do the time machine thing. Tony tells him that you need specific things, and Steve was like, "Let's just do it anyway." And look what ended up happening. He came back as a baby.
Do you think that he like had conversations? Because like obviously we joke about him not stopping racism, but keep in mind that Peggy is just like on the regular timeline. She never went to the future. So do you think that like she'll say something? It's like whoa, we don't say that anymore. Like how often do you think that happens?
Are you suggesting that Peggy says slurs?
Yes, like maybe not crazy ones, but like yeah, she's from the 40s. I'm sure, for example, because we see Steve Rogers is hosting like a group therapy involving gay people. I think that she probably has some choice words about gay people. He's like, whoa.
There are also words at that point in time that like were not considered slurs then, right? Like it's like now Yeah, anyway.
Is Steve Rogers just by
Or worse.
having lived like 10 years in the future? Is he the one friend who's too woke? God, these are some. I'm coming up with alleyways that no one's going down.
I somehow
rabbit hole.
feel worse about going on this limb than I did the 9/11 one.
You know what? Hunter, doing this show for 8 years. I know how to make myself comfortable on a limb.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So, all right. So I have before I get to a couple of the ones that Hunter had sent me before, we got one more. This is a simple one. This is an easy one. Monica Rambeau in trying to close a rift in the Marvels, ending up in the X-Men universe. Hunter, I'll start with you. What do you think? It's minimal issue here, even though we're saying that going across universes causes incursions, generally speaking. Where would you put Monica Rambeau's travel?
I mean, considering that we know the X-Men are in Doomsday, there's a non-zero chance it turns out to be pretty consequential, but I think but again, like, I think a lot of this isn't maybe not as possible without some of the previous, like, a lot of her powers and what she's doing come from an experience that she had with Wanda that
True.
and again, like, we're talking about characters who did not know the consequences of what they were doing and everything that was happening. But like, what her powers and everything that happened there come from an interaction that she had with Wanda, who was, crashing out because of experiences that she had with the Avengers.
Wow.
Just Endgame.
Crashing out. I love that.
And like,
I love it.
Yeah, because it's like, again, like, she's crashing out. Like, is what she did great? No. It's an overreaction, one might say, but like, you see why, like, you understand kids are involved. It's a whole thing, but yeah, I think it's hard for me again to, like, in the same way with like Steve or the Steve or Steven, that you, like, I get mad at them. Monica doesn't know what she's doing. She's just trying to, like, help.
Yeah, she's trying to do the right thing. I feel
and
like.
she's trying to help closing a rift. Wouldn't it be worse if it was open? Like,
right, exactly.
She's 0% free. All she really hurt was herself. Like, it would be a much worse situation if she didn't do that.
Yeah, it's just the technicality of her actually traveling.
Sure. Right, exactly. Like, that's why,
to that degree, your point is totally valid.
Yeah, I don't want to blame her because it's like, sure, her actually traveling to the other timeline and being there might be the reason that this incursion starts happening. But yeah, she wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna travel to another universe. She was like, I'm trying to close this rift that is clearly causing damage right now. And then, unfortunately, I might have also poked at an incursion. But like, I think it's kind of hard to blame her because she's also still, like, figuring out her powers in this moment. She's still figuring out what she can do. She had no idea any of that was going to happen. So it's hard for me to blame her for anything. I also love Monica. Yeah. Similar to Peter, it's hard for me to be mad, but still.
Yeah, shout out to Monica. Looking forward to seeing her again. Jake had made his point on that. Cecelia, how about you? What any rebuttal?
No, I think if anything, this is revealing to me that we just have we have two categories of people. I think we have people who are actually to blame, and then people who are in the negative of blame, who like tried to
see what had happened.
Like the people who are trying to fix it or address something or take responsibility.
Yes.
And Lil Loki, Monica, Peter Parker, and then on the other side we have Steve, and Tony. That's how I see it. Like,
yeah, Steve, and Tony, like they're guilty. They're red-handed. They getting caught red-handed out here. Like,
and like with what Hunter brought up with Wanda, that's another fucking Stephen Strange problem there. So
yep. No, you're right about it. You're right about it. It's a very, very fair point. All right, so Hunter, you did mention to me you went to the animated universe. You went to What If. You were talking about the Watcher.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that the Watcher was doing. So why don't you give me your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously the What If animated series is not. I don't know if they're gonna like reference it in Doomsday. It's not like the biggest project that the MCU has ever put out, but I will say it was sort of like 3 seasons.
I'll just say I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Yeah. I mean, it is 3 seasons of Uatu like not doing his job and messing with the multiverse to a degree where like there's a universe where Ultron gets like the Infinity Stones and then almost destroys the entire multiverse and then has to like fist fight a Watcher. He literally gathers his own Avengers from the multiverse to fight like Infinity Ultron. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of visuals where they are literally breaking planes, and I'm just like, I don't think as much blame as you can throw at Stephen Strange, and you can. I think it's hard to like sit there and be like Stephen Strange going to these other universes and like doing these things because of his own personal feelings and thinking that he's built different. Uatu also being like, I'm built different. I can do this, and like it'll be fine.
He really did believe he was built different too.
Yeah. And he's like, I can do this. It'll be fine. And then sure enough, he almost caused the entire multiverse to like cease to exist or be conquered by a robot. And that I just think it's hard to like blame people from mainline MCU going out of their way when there's this guy who's like, I'm just fucking with the entire multiverse.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I mean, the thing I've always said about What If is they clearly made Uatu look enough like Jeffrey Wright where they just need to give him some head prosthetics and some CGI. No,
Yeah.
like, because do I think that they reference like actual major plot lines and What If like specifically? No, probably not. But I do think that if they were to have Uatu, I do think that they'd have Jeffrey Wright with a big ass head on.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. That's a good one. And then you also mentioned the rogue arm of the TVA with Deadpool's universe and Deadpool and Wolverine taking a Wolverine variant out of his own universe and putting him into that particular Earth that they were in. That's another portion of this. And as a lot of people have mentioned, seems like we're probably going to see Hugh Jackman doing it till he's 90 in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And
yeah.
No, yeah, and that, I mean, that's another thing where, again, if you want to trace it back, it's like the Avengers do this thing. 2012 Loki ends up knowing about the TVA. He ends up completely restructuring the TVA and like changing how they operate, which leads to a rogue arm of the TVA not liking how he's restructured the TVA and deciding they're going to do their own thing, which leads to a Wolverine variant being displaced, thrown into a Wolverine variant being displaced and thrown into a universe that was supposed to slowly die because its anchor being doesn't exist anymore. And and like again, we don't really know how that's gonna turn out, but in terms of incursions and like characters we will almost definitely see again between Doomsday and Secret Wars, it's like, yeah, I'm sure that has something to do with it. And that is ultimately the TVA's fault. Again, like, even though Deadpool is a hooligan, like, he doesn't know about incursions. He doesn't know. All he knows is like, oh, maybe if I get this guy in my universe, all my friends get to live. And like, I think that's a reasonable enough, motive. But yeah, I mean, that might cause an incursion. So
that can't be the first time that they told someone, hey, your whole universe is going to die, and they try to do something drastic. Like, if I were them, I probably wouldn't tell someone that unless they're like 100% restrained. It's probably a bad idea to be like, hey, you know what? Bad news, your whole universe is going to die. Sucks to suck. Like, why? Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Cecelia, I wanted to ask you, did you have any additional thoughts? Did you have any additional plot points that you wanted to throw out there?
I had one 15 seconds ago and it left.
Okay.
So I'll let you know if it comes back.
Wonderful.
No, totally.
But
no worries at all. No worries at all. And Jake, how about you? Did you have any additional thoughts on?
I mean, no, none that aren't just me reaching for a joke. But yeah, I think that there are a lot of things. A lot of things have happened. I think that I'm interested to see which ones that they concretely say are the problem. Because like obviously a lot of different timelines have been made because decisions being made. But like you mentioned with the Monica Rambeau one, like that one is something that feels would be a specific incursion that they're going to focus on because we know that the X-Men characters are in it.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm interested in. Is like, what ones are they going to directly say are this was because of this decision made, as opposed to us having just like fill in the blanks.
Yeah, for me, like obviously the Steve thing is going to play a big role in the entire thing because it just feels like beyond me joking about him being too horny at work because that's exactly what he was. Beyond that aspect of things, I mean it is what it is. Like he did some shit he wasn't supposed to do. So obviously there's gonna be a scenario where the villain of this movie is gonna want to get some retribution and wanna deal with Steve on his own, and then we'll see how that plays into Steve reuniting with everybody else, which should definitely be a fun visual. And just as far as this exercise is concerned, like the idea of Doomsday being a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame is just fascinating in the sense of like all of these things that we mentioned, how do they play into what Doctor Doom is attempting or trying to do? And how is he supposed to take on all these heroes? And how do we have Thor looking scared for his life in that teaser? I just want to see. I'm very fascinated to see how all that plays out. And we are inching closer and closer to Avengers Doomsday. So along the way, it's fun to do these thought exercises. And it was fun to talk with all of you this evening. Want to thank our guests for joining us, both Hunter and Cecelia. Cecelia, thank you once again. Where can we find you, my friend?
Yeah, well, you can find me in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
MC University Discord. Or you can find me, I don't know, Google my name and you'll find stuff, I guess. My
She's out
profiles,
here.
my stuff. I'll get publications out eventually here. I do remember what I was gonna say, and it was basically that,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, the most manosphere claim I think I'll ever make in my life. So
Ooh.
feminist gods forgive me, but there's also an argument that's like Haley Atwell. It's Peggy Carter herself. All these dudes are just like busting up universes and multiverses for her between Steve Rogers and Jeff, so, but obviously you should not blame women for things like that.
There's a
because we're
Gen Z
feminists
term. There's like a
here.
Gen Z incel term I just learned that I'm gonna throw out because I
Oh,
learned it.
I'm
Where it's I'm gonna use it ironically. You're saying the problem is that Peggy Carter is goon bait.
oh my god.
We're so in trouble. We're so fucked.
That
This is the
that
most problematic.
that also feels worse than the 9/11 thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it
I was
definitely
gonna
was.
say.
It definitely was. Well, you think I didn't realize that? And when I said like, "Hey, this is a new thing I learned," and I'm doing it ironically, just want to make sure.
This is a new Gen Z slang term I
literally
learned.
saw it today, and I was like, "Man."
And
Oof.
as we've learned today, they're undercooked. Their brains aren't developed.
No, they're not.
Hey,
not.
man.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it.
Yeah, lead paint. Lead paint is make the social media algorithm makes lead paint look like vitamin B and D and C. It's
Straight up. Listen, being a college teacher, like the Gen Z stare in these class, like it's soul crushing. Just staring out into these empty faces, being like, "Have you ever had a thought?" Anyway.
And they all using Chat
Yep.
GPT and yeah.
Oh no, that's
I'm
another
getting,
podcast episode.
I'm getting depressed just
Yeah,
thinking about it.
Grok is
God damn it. Oh man. Once again, thank you, Cecelia, for gracing us with your presence. Hunter, thank you as always for giving us your knowledge and your information. Where can we find you, sir?
I'm on the social medias. Everything I am at HRDC14, so HRADESI and the number 14. Yeah, and then I am all over and around New York City now, working for a brewery called 6 Point. There's a tap room in the financial district, so if you're ever there, go drink beers because they're good.
Hey, sounds like a plan. Love that idea. And Jake, yes, my friend. Where can we find
I
you,
feel
sir?
like I had a good episode. I feel like I said all the things I wanted to say,
Oh, you were shooting.
No,
You
no,
were
no, I'm
shooting
kidding. I'm
this
kidding.
one.
But no, you can follow me on TikTok at the J Christie, on Twitter at the J Christie, Blue Sky J Christie. Still doing the TikToks every day, and having a lot of fun with that. I've been live streaming also a lot, like at least once a week at J_Christie on Twitch. I've been doing a lot of like GeoGuessr stuff, specifically doing GeoGuessr maps that are like every Dunkin' Donuts in the United States, shit like that. It's a lot of fun. So you can find me all those places. There's too much of me, but also I need to pay my bills.
Hey man, times is hard. We gotta do what we gotta do. I feel you, brother. On that note, you can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyCanton_3. Follow the show on all platforms at MC University Pod. As I mentioned, the Patreon at the top. Check that out if you're interested. And yeah, we definitely subscriber mailbag is another thing that we got to do. And I'm just excited to keep expanding what we do as this year goes along. It's a very exciting year, very exciting time. Daredevil's coming next month. There's a lot going on. I am fiending for the Spider-Man trailer. I've got my eyes peeled and just waiting to hear and get a sliver. We're getting with synopsises and all this other stuff. So looking forward to get that. So of course, when that happens, we will be here to cover that. If you like what you see on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, all of that wonderful stuff. Thank you all for listening and supporting. For Cecelia and Hunter and Jake, I'm Anthony Canton III. This has been Marvel Cinematic University, and we will talk to you next time.